CAD 911, please state the nature of your emergency.
Hey Siri, set an alarm for 15 minutes from now.
15 minutes, counting down.
And I apologize for anybody that's watching this on YouTube and all of a sudden your Apple devices are trying to do stuff for you. I'm not, that wasn't my intention. I'm just letting you know that we're sticking to it. We're going to record 15-minute videos for the next little while. So Larry, you were saying, I've seen people do that. They nail the first one, then
start at the bottom and putting their treads on there, and they work yourself up, and their weight is bending that center
yep.
one there.
It's never good to do that because you're spring loading this. So
Right.
I've always started in the middle and on a ladder or however, and I get that first one nailed on, then I get the second one nailed on, and I work my way down and up a little bit. And then once I'm about 3 or 4 steps down, then I can actually walk on the bottom two and finish those off. And so that's how I do the kickers. And then the same thing with the treads. I'll go up as far, like I've got these treads are just loosely laying on top of here, but I'll glue here and I'll do that first tread here and I'll work my way backwards so that then I can walk up later. But I want to try and keep the weight off of this as much as possible until I'm done. And like down here, you can see I'm starting at the bottom. So I don't know if I had this braced up underneath, but who knows? But I normally think about starting in the middle and working my way out. And I always draw it out too. You don't have to draw these out, but I do. I don't feel right not having exact dimensions. And this is like what I said earlier. There's no requirement to do this, but usually you'll have like 5 inches or a little more than 5 inches. And I will put a 2x6 rip down both sides as a beam, as an extra amount of support for the stringer in the middle. Even though this was only like 3'6", and it's not a whole lot of load because it's nailed to the wall, I still do it. Because if it was my house, I just want to know that if I had to come downstairs carrying some crazy weight or if I fell, the stairs ain't going anywhere. That's just my whole mindset.
Yeah.
So here we're at the end. This was a set of stairs that up in Canada that used to go down this way and they would turn right and there was a hallway. And then the hallway on the left, there was the master bedroom over here. And you turn right, and there was another bedroom over here. And then they had a cold room that was like open to the crawl space. And the housewife just didn't like the layout. She's like, we really don't have enough room in the master. And it was a daylight basement. Like the hill's pretty steep out here. So their master opens up to the backyard, sliding door, and it's kind of nice. So I walked the house and I said, why can't we switch the direction around? And so I did. Excuse me. There was a duct and some beam. Like I think I don't know if you can see it, but there's a duct over here somewhere that I had to work around and a beam. And we switched directions. And what that did, the hallway that goes right here immediately got to go away and become part of the master because you don't need it anymore. You're coming down and you're either going to the left or to the right. And I didn't need as much run open because we started over here. So that I filled that in. And then she said, hey, can you like just build a little workstation right there? And so I did. And then when they got it all sheetrocked and trimmed and everything, this became the kids' little computer station. You can see right here. And
It looks good. Yeah.
one of the things I really can't stand is flimsy. So you'll see that there's a let-in brace here, a bunch of angle blocking, same thing here. But also on these posts, the plate stops, and then these three I cut in with a oscillating saw, and I went down next to the floor joists that were down there, and I was able to lag them into the floor joists. So you can't make this move because the joists are running this way. You push all you want, it ain't going because it's 12 inches down and it's lagged a bunch of times. So it's awesome. It just feels so solid. I didn't want it like this post here was flimsy for them. This end post, this white one. So, let's talk about The kind of stairs that Mr. Larry Belk builds. Look at this. These are all the different types of stairs, man. And you've
That's
actually,
some of the basic stairs. Okay. I've got some others. It's a little
okay.
crazier than that.
Yeah. I think you've got some, here you go, some plan. These are your brochure plans. And you could see straight and then curve and then straight. Where's this ellipse? The ellipse, here you go. I don't know if I can make this any bigger, but look at the ellipse on this thing. I love this. Even the balcony's ellipse. Man, this would be a headache trying to frame this. You'd have to run like joists extra long and tie into from there to the wall, and it'd be a lot of beams and stuff up in here just to support. And then this would all be a facade up against beams. Like you might make a big rectangular beam system and then block out and curve with 1/4 inch plywood or masonite or something to get that curve, and then the sheetrock guys come in.
That's pretty much it. You just named it because you're kind of doing a cantilever, exposing the joist on across there, and then you make a plywood beam, multiple layers of plywood glued and screwed together to make that beam curve like that.
And that's why I wanted to show you my little booklet, because you are a guru. So let's where else were we gonna go? There was something else. Let's see here. Well, so you can see some of these images. You and I both worked in the same areas of the country, but just at different times. This is on Mud Island, this set of stairs. And this is a 2-story, it looks like, because I can see daylight coming up out of there. But these houses are only like 18 feet or 20 feet wide. These joists run outside wall to outside wall. I think they were 2x10 or 2x12. I can't remember. With a row of blocking down the middle. They're long, skinny houses with the car garage at the back, like a really skinny 2-car.
Is that a Victorian house that you were doing right there? Staircase? Do you remember?
This one here?
Yeah.
I don't know the name. I had copies of all the plans.
I did a Victorian house down on Mud Island for a client, and that staircase was curving around, and that arch you see there, that's kind of the same way I had it in that Victorian house. I was just curious if that happened to be one of my houses.
Well, so they all got named. This one's called the Chamberlain 3, and I think this is a 3-story plan. And so I would redraw all the stairs so that I would have correct numbers, and then I could just cut all this stuff, when I got to the job site. I'll tell you one story about Memphis. I get called by a superintendent, and he's like, "What the hell's wrong with your framers?" And so I go meet him at a place, and I walk in where the bathroom is, and these studs were way bowed out. Somebody had beat an 18-inch block into a 14.5-inch space. And I'm like, what? And I walk over there, and it's the plumber didn't have a saw or whatever, and he just grabbed a close enough block and just beat it in there so he could mount his piping, whatever, his copper. And so the superintendent's blaming me. And I'm like, I didn't put that block in there. I'm not stupid. So he goes, well, you're here. I need you to take it out. And I was like, yeah, that's typical of the framer. You get dumped on by everybody. So I took pictures of it, and I remember it's like nobody cares. It's like, dude, tell your plumber if he needs blocks like that, I'll leave a stack of like 14.5-inch blocks by the front door on the ground or something. But I had to drive over here for something that wasn't my fault. So back then I was kind of a hothead. I'm a little more chill now.
But that happens all the time.
Oh yeah. So this fireman up in Bellingham, he wanted to design stairs like this. And so I helped him figure out how to set the treads, but he welded all this, and it's, as you can tell, it sits on the floor. It's bolted to the wall by the window, and it's bolted to a breezeway bridge at the top. And it's just amazing. The work that guy did. Here's the top. And
That's
it's
pretty
just
neat
cool. He
looking
goes,
staircase.
I know, and he's a firefighter, so he's into big, tough, heavy duty stuff. So I thought, man, that's just awesome. And he did all the welds himself. So there's that. Um, this was
Mike, I'll tell you this story. I designed a home for a neurosurgeon up in Nashville,
Mhm.
and it had a curved staircase, and he wanted it suspended all, underneath. He didn't want any support underneath that, and we had to build that curved staircase out of steel because he wrapped it in stone. Put man-made, or let's say limestone. He put limestone all around that thing, and it was beautiful. But the welder, boy, he fussed and cussed all the time building that curved staircase because they had to heat and bend that in his shop and
Mhm.
bring it out to the job, and it was amazing though. Plus, you had to put anchors on the backside of the limestone. They had anchor slots to hook that to and fasten it to that frame.
Well, I'm about um, done with the stair thing. I just was hoping you would, if you saw things you think like, because I look at your stairs and I go, man, I could probably add a few pages on what to think about when you're doing stairs just by looking at the stairs you've drawn.
Well,
And
you know, we had talked about trying to come up with, you know, a cheat sheet formulas where we could just feed in
oh,
information and it would give us calculate all of that stuff. And I don't know
yeah,
if you got that pulled up. There you go.
like
Uh,
this.
yeah, and it would
So
help
I'm
designers
not
or
a
help
guru.
builders or framers, either one.
I'm gonna have to. So this is in numbers, and I like Excel better because it's more powerful. But I still like numbers because it looks good. I need to figure out. I've got it on other formula sheets. I want to enter this as feet, inches, sixteenths. I don't want to do inches because floor to floor, I don't work in inches very often.
Right.
And then, so right now, this is floor to floor. I think we did the math. This is a 10-foot wall plus a 2x10 plus 3/4 inch subfloor. So rough framing, this number's correct. And then we looked at let's say it's 10-inch tread. Well, you saw that jump right there. What we're calculating over here is if a customer calls you and says, "How many square feet am I going to lose if I add a basement, but I have to put stairs in?" Because
Which I
didn't
had
she
a
ask you
customer
that?
just ask me that question.
Yeah, that's kind of a strange question because if you're maybe she's doing the math, trying to figure out how much money she saves by not having 52 square feet at $300 a square foot. But they will charge you that on the permit people will catch you on one floor at least. It'll be included, and then all the other floors above the stairs. Usually they don't count that twice. That's like double dipping. But so that's why we added stair width. That's a variable, so you can make it like 48 instead of 42, and that changed that to now 60 square feet. So the straight run on this floor height with these treads at this width equals 60 square feet. And then if you had let's say you had a platform and it sticks out 48. What we're trying to do now is these two numbers don't do anything yet. But let's say you had a U-turn stairs instead of a straight run stairs. That's going to come in handy because you're going to add a landing and you're going to have a space between the where it turns, and then we'll be able to do that
Yeah,
math.
like right there, Mike, right there. If you got a 3.5 inch space there, that's equivalent to having a fold back stair where you just go up, hit a landing, fold back, and go up.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of stairs where there's space in between them, depending on the type of house. That space between each one of your runs of stairs, you may have 18 inches or 2 foot in between it. And I call that a U shaped stair. is what I
Yeah.
call it. Other
Okay.
people call it different things, but that's why we're building that little space between stairs that can fluctuate.
That just reminded me of,
Show that SketchUp detail.
yeah, I'm a man. Every time I'm going to say it. Hey, so Siri's saying we hit 15 minutes, but we're just going to go a little couple extra because we're right at the end. Um, every time that I open up SketchUp, I love SketchUp, and I have to thank you for telling me to get into SketchUp because this is exactly how I would frame this. Unless the only other thing I would do is if it was in Memphis or Cordova, these double plates would be down here and they would be flush to the top of this tread so that they could put wrought iron railing. But
Well, Mike, let me tell you this. You're talking about, you're thanking me. It makes me feel good that you are open-minded enough to know that sometimes you need more than one tool to get the point across. You know,
oh
you can't
man,
depend on one software.
that is so true. I've been preaching that the last little while with tools. Like a hammer doesn't work as a screwdriver, and vice grips don't work as a hammer. You can try and make them work, and I might call you a fanboy if all you care about is vice grips. I'm gonna call you the vice grip fanboy. But it's the same with software. I love Chief Architect for some of the things it does really, really well. I think I have, if I can find it here, I'm gonna open this up. There is. I've been adding these to our. Where do I have these? I was just doing this last night, getting pictures. Of course. Oh, I know where they are. I do know. Good. Um,
By the
what?
way, that's a good looking detail right there.
Yeah,
And
I'm
you
going to
got
show
it
you.
color coded also.
Yeah, I did the fire blocks in red. What I'm looking for is I took a SketchUp model of the stairs and I made it.
Oh, you brought it into Chief and labeled it. I
Yeah,
remember that. Yeah.
I brought it into Chief and I labeled it, and that's what really here. This might work.
There you go.
Yeah, we talked about this before. This is Chief Architect's layout page. These are SketchUp 3D and Chief Architect's notes symbology. So I love using the two of them together. I'm able to use a perfectly accurate 3D model that's framed correctly, and Chief's um, the way they'll use their text and the way they use their schedules and their formatting and all this is just I love using the two of them together.
Yeah, it's so much easier than SketchUp's layout.
Here, this is SketchUp's dimensioning. This little itty bitty number. Now I can make it bigger, but I can't make it go in line with the actual whatever this is called, extension or leader or whatever. But in Chief, I can do stuff. Like I drew this all in Chief. This is all 2D. And I can use leader lines. I can rotate the text. I can have any kind of text I want, and it can be bold or not bold. And it's super clean and easy to read. So there's things where Chief Architect just is the king. And then there's things where it's not. And right here, this whole jack rafter thing, if you want to pause and read all this, they do their jacks wrong because they don't account for certain things. You pull
Mike,
16 off of this.
It's like, when I was telling you that you needed to start using SketchUp for detailing.
Yeah.
I used SketchUp after my AutoCAD died. I started with SketchUp, and I love SketchUp modeling. Okay, but the downfall was their layout. It's just not there. And one of my good buddies, Larry James, told me about Chief, and so I went to Chief and I started with Chief. and I love their layout. I love it. Okay, but there there are problems with Chief. I mean, some things work great, and other things it's my old saying, they polished the hood, but they didn't do the tune up on the motor. There's
Yeah.
still some things that they could enhance that they kind of stopped doing. They'll put a new feature out there, but they don't take it to its maximum strength. Okay.
Yep.
And
And
so,
I like to surround myself with people who are honest, and when they don't have it right or they don't know what's right, they're humble enough to say, "Man, I don't know," because I've been around that my whole life.
yeah,
All the soldiers I've known in the military, we were just honest because we had to be. We had to trust each other. And so when I come out here and I see fanboys who just uh, they just love this or they just love that, and if you complain about it, you're a loser, moron. It's like, wow, really? So I'm hoping you and I can inspire people to evaluate where they're at, make sure they can afford to do what they got to do. If they're professionals, this is a professional expense. I never need to submit plans with 3D framing. I've never been asked to do that, but I could. And with SketchUp, I do because I'm trying to get accurate information to the job site. So the guy building it, if he sees this picture and he goes, "Oh, okay, that totally makes sense." Because I was a framer, I know what I would want to know, and so I'm giving him that information. The permit guys, they may or may not care. They may go and look at this and go, "This isn't really necessary." But I don't care. I'm not drawing that for them. I'm drawing the 2D for them. They stamp or engineer or whatever. This is for the framer or the builder or the DIY guy. So they can understand, like when they see, they're going to be like, "Man, why does it take 4 studs right here?" Well, it takes one to hold this up and it takes two to hold this up. And then this one goes all the way to the top. So it's just stuff like that. And like I said, I overbuild. You could probably get away with one less, but I want this thing stiff. I want all these tall walls stiff. Here's your midspan blocking. What I've just noticed is I don't have handrail blocking going up the inside of this wall like I do over here. So what's cool is, check this out. You've convinced me to become good at this. So this 3D mouse thing is just amazing. So I'm gonna hit M plus. I'm gonna go like this, and I'm going to start moving it in the red direction. So or the yellow direction, I guess, green. And I'm just gonna bring it over and check that out. It's higher. That's why I don't have it. I don't need blocking because that's at the actual railing height because I've locked its where it can move and it's above that. So I guess I didn't do it wrong. You're going to sheetrock this, put a cap on it, and you're going to walk down, and that's going to be your handrail on this side. And then on this side, you're going to screw into the wall an actual handrail. So see how
there
easy
you
that
go.
was? It's so easy to grab things, move things, do things. It's slower than Chief, but I don't like automatic because sometimes
But
automatic
the
goes
thing
wrong.
about it, Mike, is some of the automation, if the thing's not working right, you're going to wind up spending more time trying to do a workaround than you would doing it right there.
Correct. Yep, that is a true statement. And I don't think Chief's going to do it to this level of detail. I mean, I got all the fire blocks. I could dimension this fire block right now just to see what I needed to cut it. It would be from there to there. And this is what I don't like. See how their dimensions are kind of lame, but 1'5" and 15/16 long to short. And I could even probably figure that bevel if I used the whatever tool this is, the protractor. So there you go. I think we're done. Siri said we needed to
Okay,
stop.
that was good, Mike.
So I
I enjoyed
appreciate your
that.
time, Larry. If I know that I just threw this on you about the stair thing. So I'll get you a PDF copy. And if you have any thoughts on what you think would be valuable to put in there, because you and I are on the same page, we're not going to charge people money for every little thing we give them. Because if I give something to somebody, maybe someday they'll give something back to me. And we're just doing it
Well,
because we want people to
it's
be
giving
accurate.
back. It's giving back to your profession. If you're a professional, you want to help people. So,
Yep.
you know, I'm older now, and I'm trying to give back to the colleges. I go and help the kids that's in architectural school. I go and do a little hour and a half teaching sometimes. So it's just a matter of giving back. You don't have to get
Yep.
paid for everything you do.
Yeah, I got enough jobs that employ me whenever they do. The housing market's a little slow right now, but when it's going, I'm busy. And if I can help somebody, I don't always charge. It just depends what it is. And this stuff, like this general information that I've discovered, you've discovered, I just want to share it so that everybody gets better. Things become easier.
Yeah,
So
that's right. That's
so
exactly
feel
right.
free to comment in the comment section if you think this is all wrong because you're the baddest, most awesome framer on the planet. I welcome that because uh, I'll go toe to toe with you, man. I'll do it. I can't. It's like you're rattling my chain. No, I'm getting older. I'm getting more relaxed, but I just want to learn. I'm sure there's ways. Somebody's got ways that if they share, we're going to learn something new. I just learned about. I think you only have to sheet a shear wall to the top plate, not to the top of the double plate. So that's my new one. I'm not going to get into that. There's other videos I talked about that in, but I'm willing to learn new tricks. I'm not that old of a dog. So, anyways,
Okay, Mike. I enjoyed it, bud.
well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time. I don't want to bug you all the time, but I do want to capture lots of video because your experience is out there. I mean, you've been a builder, designer. Um, you've come up with so many creative looking plans that people are actually copying your work. They are. So even though it's wrong, it's a compliment that there's people probably going, man, I really like that plan. But people need to pay for these things. So think about it. If you really want a custom, one of a kind, knock it out of the park for your family, call Larry. He'll take your call. He'll design you a house and it'll be awesome. And if you live in Oklahoma, he'll probably put a storm shelter design into your basement if you ask him. Because you guys are having some crazy weather down there.
We're having crazy weather, not just in Oklahoma. It's kind of like Tornado Alley has kind of moved to the east now, and it's going through Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, all the way to the East Coast. It's crazy.
Yep.
Anyway, well,
Well, be
thank you,
safe.
Mike. Thank you.
Be safe. If you ever get some really big hailstones, go take some pictures because I tell people when I lived in Texas, the biggest I seen was baseball size. And you have to get under an overpass if you're driving because it will just destroy your car. But
Yeah, it will.
well, I'm just rambling. So if we're going to do that, we'll stop recording and we'll we'll do this again sometime. Thank you.
Okay. All right.